feel, actually, I'm sure you know this too, and oh Canada,
Woo!
100 years ago, you could not get Splenda in the United States.
No.
So, and because I was the researcher in the family, and I was so worried about diabetes and sugar being the devil, you know, and I this is my cross to bear, but I'm the one who went online and found a distributor in Canada for Splenda before it was available in the United States, and I always had boxes and boxes shipped down to the States, and I got everybody on my family using it. It turns out that stuff is poison too, you know, and I feel terrible because, you know, my intentions were good, but now, using the Splenda, now you're hooked on something that's, 600 to 800 times sweeter than sugar.
Yeah.
So how could you ever be happy with going back to sugar? Because, like, talk about overstimulating and, like, growing crazy receptors in your brain. I mean, it's really, it's horrible what's happened. So, giving up the Splenda was
huge.
a nightmare. I mean, if you currently, you could even try it. If you're currently using Splenda, you know, there's no way after using a packet of Splenda, you're going to be happy using 1 or 2 or 4 packets of regular sugar. You won't even taste it.
No.
It's got your brain so lit up. So I know what you're talking about with the International Delight. I know exactly what you're saying.
Now, let's roll that into different kinds of sweeteners, because there are a lot of sweeteners out there that are on the market. They might even be marketed to diabetics, but we don't consider them keto friendly because of how your blood sugars react. Now, I will say, I don't judge. I never judge what sweeteners people eat, and I have the goat stomach, and I can eat them all, even the really bad ones, like the maltitol that everybody's like, oh, poop candies. They don't bother me. But how do we go about navigating? How do we know which sweeteners are keto and which ones aren't? Because a lot of them say sugar-free or low carb or keto friendly, or even those candies say diabetic friendly. So how do we navigate that when we're new?
I think if you're already using it, I think the idea is to try to back off on it. Again, if you can. You don't want your life to be a nightmare because, and you know, I tell people it's not your fault. You know, they got you hooked with the intention of getting you off the sugar. They're selling you something that's even more powerful and perhaps just going to put you on a bigger roller coaster. So I don't know the answer to that. You know, I remember the Atkins book from 1972, and I think I had mentioned this someplace else, but in his book from 72, you know, all the rage was saccharin. And I think it came in the pink, you know, and I remember all my aunts were using it in their coffee, and you know, it was in the tab, all that stuff. That's how old I am.
Oh, we're right around the same age, I think, actually.
That's white.
We're exactly 25. You know, I don't know what you're talking about.
That's right. So, yeah, I think if it's part of somehow of a reduction of the overall, like, really bad carbs, if you need it, but just keep it in the back of your head to try to, you know, back it down slowly if you can, because what's going on, see, at least sugar, it's there when you're, you know, after your insulin has the reaction, but these artificial sweeteners, they're going to spike you, and all this insulin's going to be there waiting to put it, and there's nothing there. It's like chasing a ghost. That's the way my mind works, so it's not really a good thing, because too much insulin in your bloodstream, you know, ain't going to be a good thing. I will tell you, I don't like Truvia, which I think is like a mix of stevia, like this Rabiana, and like a little dextrose or something else thrown in. I recently, for Christmas, holy night, for Christmas, I made like a little dessert or something.
Yeah.
And I threw in some Truvia, and I mean, it was sweet, but it had a funny taste.
Yeah.
What didn't bother me was the monk fruit extract.
I like that one, yeah.
Of course, you really got to spend money to get the pure monk fruit. You got to go on.
Yes.
And again, it's the same thing. Like just like 100 years ago when I went online to buy the Splenda, you had to pay a big price for it to get it in Canada.
Yes.
The pure, I think monk fruit or Lohan is called. You get it pure. Alright, so it comes from a fruit, but what's happening? It's gonna taste sweet. And what's gonna happen? Your pancreas is gonna squeeze out insulin. But there won't be anything like actual sugar. Unless it is. Some search more. But it sounds a little, they always are marketed to sound better than the predecessor. So who knows? In the end, if you really can, you're better off just going without. But that's, like you said, like a year and a half, 2 years. I mean,
it takes time. Well, and brand to brand, I want to mention they're not the same from state to state, country to country. Now, you can purchase Truvia in Canada, but what they market in Canada is actually a real sugar blend. So it's a blend of artificial sweeteners and real sugar. So if you're in Canada and you're buying Truvia, it is a real sugar blend. So I never recommend the Truvia. Where I live, I'm only able to buy my sweeteners in bulk. So I don't ever get to buy any branded sweeteners. I go to Bulk Barn and the bin will say monk fruit blend or ethanol blend. Xylitol I can get pure, but it's always a mystery blend. So I never really know exactly what I'm getting. Like, you roll your dice, baby, and you pay $16 for a teeny little bag, and you pays your monies and you takes your chances. But I found for myself personally, I almost find a lot of these to be transitional foods. And I want to talk a little bit about transitional foods, because when I first started keto, I really spent a lot of time making the things that I normally ate. So, for example, I would do little pie cups, and I would do mug cakes, and I would do 1-minute muffins, and I would make cereal substitute. I ate a lot more sweetener. I had a lot of fat bombs on hand. But again, I feel like those are transitional, and I feel like I needed them in the beginning. I needed them to transition from the things I was eating. I used to eat peanut butter cups every day, so instead I made peanut butter fat bombs. You know what I mean? Like, I used to have grilled cheese sandwiches, so instead I made mug cake. But now I find I very, very rarely have those things unless I'm doing it for a recipe so that other people can have. Whereas I say I probably would have eaten fat bombs 3, maybe 4 times a week when I started. I eat them, maybe I'll eat 1 today and I might eat 1 next week, and closer to Shark Week, I won't lie, I might eat a couple. But I don't find I need it as much as I used to. So I want to talk a little bit about what some of those transitional foods were for you, because I think people look from the outside and they go, oh, it's easy. Well, it's easy. This guy's got it licked. It was never hard for him. Oh, it's so easy for Dory. Dory never struggled. So I would love for you to talk a little bit about that. Some of the things that maybe you used to eat quite a bit of that you don't really anymore.
There's this, it's so funny what I've done to myself. But, because when what I find, even if you're experienced, with keto and carnivore and like low carbing, if you return to the land of the living, and look, the holidays are the holidays. You got your Christmas, you got your Easter, and, that's the emotional thing. You don't want to be left out of things, and, it's such a struggle, which isn't fair. And I tell my clients this. It's not fair that I have to watch all the time. You have to watch. It's not fair. And I feel you. I understand. So, but it's just something that we're always going to have to deal with. Whenever I would go off, like after the holidays and make the New Year's resolution, I'm going to get back on the wagon, all that, I would go back in to the low carb, keto, and I would really, really go crazy, like, you're killing me, what are you doing? This is where the good stuff, that they sell comes in. But it's really, it's a transitional food, but in the end, it's just another marketing gimmick. Yes. What am I talking about? One of my favorite tortilla chips.
Oh.
Which is the Siete brand. I don't know if they have it in Canada.
No.
It's Siete. They're wonderful. But I was going through a bag a day.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah. So my point is, even though it may be, transitional, they're still, refining. And there wasn't a grain to be found in the Siete chips. I think it was made with some kind of almond flour, cassava chip mix. Quite delicious. Okay, so there's no grains in there. Why am I busting through a bag a day with the salsa, putting the cheese on? And before you know it, me personally, you're out of control. Like, it's got me. But, what's wrong? There's no grain. It's still refined. Okay, transitional, better than eating, I don't know, I guess, like regular crackers made from wheat.
Or Doritos, right? Better than Doritos? Or Cheetos?
I guess so, yeah. I mean, at least I think the Doritos might be made with corn, which technically is gluten. But, I mean, they're putting something in there that really just gets you, Oh, yeah. So, and my other transitional food, which I can't even keep it in the house, and I sympathize too, is this paleo pancake mix. Again, made with like ground nuts and ground like almond flour. Totally paleo, so I think it was grain free, And every other night, I think I'll have breakfast for dinner, making the pancakes. All right, I'll make it healthy. I'll throw in the blueberries, and before you know it, it's a nightmare. But okay, so what am I going to put on the pancakes?
Yeah.
I got to find like a fake maple syrup now.
Yeah.
And that's how you start getting wrapped up with them putting the monk fruit in the syrup, and you start spending money. So, yes, all of these wonderful things were part of my transition. They were better than the stuff I used to eat, But it often makes me wonder, should I just try to stay away from everything refined, eat real food, and just treat myself, and with, the promise to myself and help from above, please don't let me, break out of the atmosphere and lose my footing again, So.
Well, and let's talk a little bit about the holidays, because I do know that a lot of people really struggled getting through the holidays. This was my second keto Christmas. I'll be 2 full years keto in April. But here's the thing. Now, we have Halloween, and then Christmas, and then Valentine's, and then Easter, and then Canada Day, then 4th of July, and then we're rolling right back around again. And then, of course, add in there, there's my birthday, my son's birthday, my husband's birthday. Now, my question is, if we decide every time it's, a holiday, or every time it's a day off, it's okay. You know what, I'm just going to go off track for a day or 2 or 5 or a week. And I will come back. And again, we don't judge. If you ate stuff, that you didn't want to eat over Christmas, that happened, and we get back on track. But I always try to encourage people to plan ahead. So, say, for example, I'm going to my family dinner. I always make sweet potato pie. This year, I made a pumpkin cauliflower blend with keto marshmallows on top. So it's a keto sweet potato pie instead of eating sweet potato pie, because I know for a lot of people it's such a fine line. Like, some people can eat off plan for a day or 5 or a week and hop right back on, and it's good. Some people can literally have one thing. It only takes one thing to trigger all of those things, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, it's a year later. I was going to get back on plan tomorrow. Tomorrow I was going to. So I think that if you're in that situation, coach. You need a coach. You need a coach, because you know what? You will tell yourself over and over and over again, tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. But if there's nobody to keep you accountable and say, hey, this is our target date start. What did you eat today? You know, how are we going to do this? So I'd like to talk a little bit about that and kind of what happens when you're in that in between. Because I know, Lord love us, we are all human beings. There is so many people who are in that in between right now. Like, this is the year they're going to get healthy. They didn't do it last year. They didn't do it the year before. And now you're replaying, you know, it's 2019. I'm still working on 2015, you know, New Year's resolution, because it never came to pass. So I would love for us to talk maybe directly to those people and say, you know what would you say to people who said, you know what, every year I mean to try. Every year I have the best of intentions, and it lasts for a week or 5 days or 2 weeks. If someone came to you and said that, what would be your recommendation for them?
Well, I'd really like to get to know them, and I want to know, like, what's going on in your life. You know, are you happy at your job? Is your family okay? How's your economic situation? You know, what do you think what would it take to make this year better, more productive? What would it take? And just by getting to know people and getting them to open up and just, you know, remove, you know, I mean, it's very easy to tell people, okay, we're going to take this out of your diet, take this, and maybe we'll send you to the gym or take a walk, you know, just get out and take a walk. But how do I get you to believe in you, to believe in yourself? And what do I need to do to make you blossom? So those are all the things I work on. And in all fairness, you know, I had a client who, despite me, you know, calling, texting every other day, because she was like really in the grips of a carbohydrate addiction, and she worked really long hours, you know. So I'm not one of those coaches that's going to throw recipes at you. Here, try this. I really try to keep it simple, because some people are just amazingly and tragically extremely busy trying to make a living. And
yes.
Really, you know, so it's got to be what works in your life. And you really have to convince people, as sometimes even I need convincing, you matter. You really matter. And it's got to be you. I'll coach you. You're driving this. And you matter, and you're worth it. Your family loves you. Your friends love you. You got to love you. I know it sounds canned and campy, but in the end, I think that's it. Partly, anyway.
I agree. And I think that if you've tried year after year and it never really clicked, I think mindset is the key. I really do. I think if you've been trying over and over again, it might be time to sit down and really look at your motivation, really look at your mindset, because so many of us, and even me, I will raise my hand, I am guilty of this. I started keto with the thought in the back of my head, this probably isn't going to work. I mean, I've failed at every diet I've ever done in my life. I spent the majority of my life being 290 pounds. And you know what? I'm exactly half the size I was. I'm 145 now, and I was 290. But I spent my whole life that way. I
God bless you.
I gave up on being healthy by the time I was 19 years old. I never thought it would happen for me. And I think that so many of us come in with that pre-failure mindset. And not only do we say it to ourselves, but guess what? Sometimes we get it from the outside too. And people say really supportive things like, so how long's this diet going to last this time? You're probably going to make it like 2 weeks, right? Right? So let's...
yes, I mean, even extended family members, and it's not funny. It's
No.
really, when you're really heavy, you'll laugh along to cover up the rage you're feeling inside, but it's not funny. It's,
No.
It's really tough.
Let's talk about...
What
Yeah.
that made you get this far? I mean, you look amazing. You're
Oh,
happy
thank you.
on your side. So what, in your mind, what was the process? What was the spark? If you don't mind me asking.
Well, to be honest with you, I realized that I was only 10 years away from my mother's stroke, her diabetes, and her gout due to diabetes. When my son was 13 years old, I sat down and I calculated and I realized that if I continued the way I was and I had the health that my mother had, that within 10 years I would have had a stroke and the same heart attack that my mother had. So at that point, I had never heard, my son will be 21 this year. So that was a long time ago. I had never heard the word keto. I had already long since given up on diets and eating healthy, and I opted to have a weight loss surgery at that time because I didn't see any other option. I didn't. And when I had my surgery, I was fortunate. I had the best surgery you can. It's reversible. I'm totally healthy. I don't have any repercussions or anything from that. And I did really good. I lost 130 pounds through my surgery just from limiting my food. And I won't lie, I never changed what I was eating. I still ate the same junk food. I just ate a smaller amount of it. So instead of eating a big bag of Doritos, I would eat a quarter of a small bag, but I was still eating junk. And then when my mother passed away, I got really out of hand. And I learned to out-eat my surgery. I will not say my surgery failed. I'm still restricted. It still did its job. But I learned that I could eat a bite of a chocolate bar now, and a bite of a chocolate bar in 20 minutes, and a bite of a chocolate bar, and I could still figure out how to eat a whole chocolate bar a day every day. And I started to gain weight. I was depressed. I didn't care. I really just wasn't functioning at all. And at the end of that, I realized, holy man, like I need to get this under control. And ironically enough, I still wasn't looking for keto. I still wasn't. My girlfriend had heard about the newest Miracle Shake. We all know how that goes. In 2 weeks, you can lose 20 pounds. And I was like, well, that's ironic because you know what? I have 2 weeks and 20 pounds to lose. Like, win-win. It was ridiculously expensive, but we agreed we would split the 1 month supply, and we ordered the shake, and the day it arrived, she phoned me and she said, oh my God, Dory, I was Googling how to make the best use of this shake, and there's a whole diet. And I won't lie, I was ugly to her. I said not nice things, and I believe there were some swears in there. And I was like, girl, you better back up off me with that D word. Like, I said I would do a shake with you. I never said I would go on a diet. And she said, you know what? This one's different though. You're going to love it. Just watch this one video. Promise me you'll watch the whole thing. And I only watched it because I promised. Like, I literally opened my phone. I looked at it and I thought, that's right, diet guy. I don't like your face. I don't like your face. How do you like that? I don't like you. And I already decided in advance I wasn't going to like what he said. And I was only watching it because she made me. And by the end of that video, I was like, hey, so that kind of makes sense. I suppose you could send me a little more information about your diet. And she was like, okay. And then it was me. I was the one who ran with it and started researching and started making. Almost 2 years later, she's not keto anymore and I am. And it just made sense to me. And I won't lie, I didn't do all the research right away. I watched a couple videos and went, duh. Oh my God, that makes so much sense. I'm just going to do it. And I decided right away, I don't have to do everything perfect. I just have to make one healthy choice every day. Because I knew for my own self, if I cut everything out, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't. I never would. So instead, I decided I wasn't on a diet. I was just making one healthier choice every day. And if I made one choice a day, I'm a rock star. Rock star.
There you go. That's sound stuff.
So probably longer story than you expected, but that's how it happened for me. And yeah, right. I was surprised because I'm literally the last person on the planet that I ever would have expected. If someone ever said to me, "Oh, Dory, you're going to get so excited about, exercise and diet and health and, helping people," I'd be like, you know me, right? Like, you've met me before. So I want people to know that your life can change a really, really lot once you open your mind to new things. And I'd love to go there next because I know for myself personally, since I've started keto, everything around me has changed. Partly because of my mental clarity and partly just because I'm braver than I used to be. But I'd love to hear one, maybe not specifically keto related thing, but something that changed in your life because of your change in lifestyle.
Well, I will second that emotion as far as the clarity.
Yes.
When you do keto, or when you eat clean, your body, I realize, starts to heal on its own.
Yes.
When I was playing games with myself, I was taking a lot of vitamins. I still got a ton. If you want to buy some vitamins, I'm your guy.
I'm your guy.
I got a ton. So, being on keto, all of a sudden, there's this calmness that's in my life, in my mind. And it's really something that I'm learning slowly to love more than, being distracted by, the ads I get for, the Papa John's pizza or, the chicken wings and all that stuff. So this keto, really dropping all the grains and the carbs and the sugar, really, as I say to some clients, let me take you to the top of the mountain. Let me get you there. Let me help you get there because I've seen it. And it's really amazing. It's really helped my focus in my life. It's given me, I know it works. It definitely works. You're taking out, all the refined sugars, all the junk. And what will happen is you'll gain that clarity. So that works for sure. It's just the history, my genetic history, the memories, So when I go to a supermarket, I try to stay out of the middle because, I used to love, in my spare time, this is how crazy I used to get. And I don't do it as much anymore. No, I do. I still do.
Who are you fooling?
Like if they have a sale in the store. Before Christmas, the big chain here, they had a 2-for-1 for Pop-Tarts.
Oh, no.
And I just got locked. I was like...
2-for-1?
I was totally locked with it. I was remembering my childhood and, all that stuff. But being this way does make you stronger. Physically, of course. But mentally, it's just applying it and having somebody, with you, doing it, someone to really support you. And that's, back to the coaches thing. They could help you find ways okay, so, and it's also, it could be a very scary thing because you got this all set, you're doing well, so what else do you want to do with your life? like it's really like wide open now,
Yes.
right?
Yes. I think for me, doing keto was the first time in my life, ever in my whole life, that I didn't allow I don't know enough about that to be my excuse. Because you know what? I won't lie. That was my excuse for everything that I wouldn't try my whole life was I don't know enough about that. But I never said out loud, I'm going to learn more about that. It was my one easy answer. I don't know enough about that, so I can't do it. Done. That was my done and one. That was my reason to not do anything. Like, you name it. I can't think of how many things over a lifetime that I didn't do because I don't know enough about that. Keto was the first time that the thought that I don't know enough about that didn't even occur to me. It made sense. I wanted to do it. I wanted to try it. And I've found that since then, not one time in the year and a half since have I thought to myself out loud, I don't know enough about that to do that. Literally every thought that has come to me since that I wanted to do, I learned how to do it. I never once said, I don't know enough about that. Instead, I learned. So I think for me, that's it. Almost changed that entire pathway in my brain, because my whole life, all I ever thought was I don't know enough about that, and that was it. So I never had to learn. I never had to step out of that box. I never had to try something new because I don't know. I don't know enough about that. I don't know enough about that. And now everything, when I started my YouTube channel, it was because somebody said, oh, Dory, you should start a YouTube channel. And I was like, but I don't know how to start a YouTube channel. So I watched a video and I started a YouTube channel. But I didn't spend 6 months saying, I don't know how to do that, and never do that. And that was my life every day before. I'd like to thank the mental clarity for it, but I don't know. I don't know. So,
This is all connected.
again, because this happens, because we have so much fun, I look at the clock and we have 5 minutes left. Can you believe it's already been like, I know, right? Boom, boom, boom.
I just met you.
I know, so fast. So what I would love to do for our last few minutes is I would like for you to tell everybody where we can find you on the different social medias. And when we're all done, I'll get you to send me all of your links so that I can add them to the posts and everybody can find you.
I sure will, and I appreciate your time, Dorian. I really thank you.
Oh, thank
for
you.
bringing me on. I was so nervous.
I know. He's a first timer, guys. Like, hearts for a first timer. Because you know what? We bring a lot of first timers on here. And they get all nervous and they're like, oh, maybe I'll be boring. Maybe I'll do it wrong. He wasn't boring at all. We like you already.
I feel better now.
Right? Like,
Let's do this for another hour.
Wazoo! Let's do it again soon, though, for another hour.
I would love it. I'm
Yes.
thrilled that you took the time to talk with me.
Oh, thank
it's
you.
It's wonderful seeing all of you out there. And you can find me at DietKingHealthMonster.com. That's my website.
Okay.
I'm on Facebook as Diet King Health Monster, but you could also find me as Adam Wilk.
Okay.
And that's who I am. And Twitter also. I'm Adam S. Wilk 1.
Find me on Twitter, dude. I haven't caught on to it yet. I have one, but I'm like, I don't understand Twitter.
They're so serious on Twitter. Dude.
Right? Up your nose. Oh, goodness. Okay, so you got the Twitter. Do you do Pinterest at all?
No, but
No, okay.
all my teacher friends are pros with that.
Right. And do you have a YouTube channel?
I do, but it's just sitting there. I don't know how to do it. Just show me. We'll make a deal.
That's right. Do you know what? We'll do that. We'll get together. Do you know what? We should do that for our next live, actually, because people ask me that all of the time. And I have a lot of people who would love to. They want to start their own YouTube channel. They want to share their message. And I think some of us just don't know how. So I think let's do that next time. Let's talk about sharing your story and some of the different ways you can do that.
Sounds like a plan.
Yay. Well, thank you so much for your time again. And I really appreciate it. And don't forget to send me all your links so then I can add them everywhere.
You're a pleasure.
Thank you so much. Have a great night, Guy. Bye, darling. Okay. Yay! How fun was that, guys? Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm going to let you know. I'm going to go. I'm going to take a quick break. I'm going to make up the post. If you guys were watching the earlier live, Dr. Karen S. Lee is giving us 2 of her books, 1 of each. So I'm going to write up a post for you guys to share, 1 on Facebook, 1 on Instagram, and let's get you guys a cookbook. So I'm going to do that, and then at 7:30 in 2.5 hours, we're going to be back with Coach Jonathan, the Keto Road, and we're going to do something really fun. I was watching his live the other day, and I won a coaching consult. I won something. I'm a winner. So what we're going to do is I decided we're going to do that consult as a live so that you guys get an idea of what it's like. If you get a coach, what does a coaching consult look like? You get an idea of the kinds of things you talk about, and we're going to discuss macros, general health, and nutrition. And I'm super excited because you guys may or may not know this, but I've been hunting for about 2 years to find someone to help me explain to you guys the science of post-bariatric macros. I know what works for me, and I know why it works for me. But I think we're going to get to delve a little bit into that tonight. So I'm super excited. I hope you guys have an awesome evening, and we'll see you again soon. Have an amazing Monday, guys. Aw, love you, darlings. Bye. There we go. And